What's your favorite scary movie?
Be like, I'm dying.
If some guy came up to me and said, "Hey, they guys," I'm like, "It's over and done. We're married now."
Someone in the movie, so I'm like, kiss. But
oh God, what a sea of humanity.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Welcome to 52/1994, the live movie conversation podcast where we discuss movies from the year 1994. I am your host, Cody, and I'm joined by my co-host this week, Steven. How you doing, Steven?
I'm doing well, man. That little 1 minute music you got going there is real pleasant. That was a good choice, man.
I wanted to bring I wanted to bring some light moods into this, somebody's already talking about our shirts. We're both dressed up for the occasion. Show everybody your shirt. I think that you'll get some appreciation for it.
This is my favorite band, Blink 182. So yeah, if you haven't heard of them, check them out. Blink 182.
I think they're a band from Philadelphia.
Yeah, I hear it's always sunny in Philadelphia too. So never been.
Of course, I'm wearing my Ace Ventura shirt with my undershirt under there, showing off some chest hair.
Man, I spent a shameful amount of time trying to make my hair like do the.
Oh man, that would have been
there's so much gel that I just had to quit.
Yeah, trust me. Mine's too short. Mine's like at this weird. I couldn't do anything with it. It's fine. Yeah. But I did the shirt. I had this shirt. I bought this shirt last year, and it's coming in handy. I've also got
swim. You look like you're either ready to watch Ace Ventura or go to a pool party.
I have shorts to match. Some little 4-inch, swim trunks, show off my thighs, skies out, thighs out, kind of thing. And it's like 12 degrees outside right now. So, but I thought, we're doing Ace Ventura. I would love to get in the mood with Ace Ventura. I love your t-shirt though. So you win. You always do.
I mean, Blink and It's Always Sunny.
What screams Jim Carrey and Ace Ventura more than Always Sunny in Philadelphia? So, if this is your first time joining us, welcome in. We're happy for you to join us today. If you like what you hear, go ahead and hit that follow over here on Twitch. If you're not watching on Twitch, really appreciate it if you'd go over to Twitch and give me a follow. And then you can watch along with us live every week and participate in the comments. Like you see, everybody's already going off in the comments about something. They're a rowdy bunch, those chatters. And basically what we do is we're going to watch 52 movies from the year 1994. We're doing important movies that are released this year. We've got a couple, monthly categories that we're going to be talking about. Doesn't matter if the movies are good or bad. And then I'll have my guest host on to talk about them and see what they've been watching lately at the end of it all. So we're doing Jim Carrey month this month. We've already done The Mask. That was the first one we did. We did Dumb and Dumber last week. I think that one was a pretty successful one. And this week we're following it up and ending our Jim Carrey 1994 year with Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. And Steven, I know that you've seen this movie. Can you tell me a little bit about your memories about this movie, or was this one that you were allowed to watch? Or
no, definitely. It's odd because I feel like my parents allowed number 2 but not number 1. I don't know if we were staying away from like the sexuality aspect. I don't know what the purpose of keeping me from number 1 and allowing me to see number 2 was, but in my brain, I saw number 2 first and had to go back to number 1.
Yeah, I think that
was.
Yeah, I think that's the same.
From the folks. Yeah,
I think that's the same for a lot of kids like our age. I think I have seen When Nature Calls more than I've seen this one.
Yeah, and I don't know, like I don't necessarily remember either of them being on TV. like something that was on normal. So it had to be a rent from the Blockbuster Video 2000 kind of situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think we ever as a family rented number one, but multiple times rented number two. So definitely like backtrack to it, which happens with music, happens with movies. Yeah, I like slashers, by the way. Yeah. To comment on the chats.
They're butters. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Butt heads. Yeah, so I feel like I have a very same experience with this. I don't think my parents were big into Jim Carrey stuff, even though I watched The Mask more than any Jim Carrey movie, I think, out of all of them. I didn't watch Dumb and Dumber a lot until I got to high school, and probably in between The Mask as a child and this was probably what I saw in between those and Dumb and Dumber, and really loving Dumb and Dumber a lot. But
yeah, I don't know if there was if there was an effort on my parents' part for us to avoid number one. I'm not sure why, because you get the early blowjob in number one. You get the early you get an early sex scene in number two as well.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen number two in a while, but yeah, I didn't. In my head, they're one's not more offensive than the other, or more non-Christian.
I guess in my mind, two is the less sexual one of the bunch, but I can't honestly remember anything from two except for like the funny parts. So
I mean, I think, to the point of the chat, I think for as much transphobia that may be in number one, I think they take quite the liberty with like the African culture in number two.
I was about to say, you're sacrificing one for the other here. So are we a little racist?
Pick your poison. But I think they're both, I think it'd be hard to get a 2024 Ace Ventura.
I agree.
Just like, because it'd be hard to do The Office again, because it would maybe be more offensive in this time and wouldn't be as well received. So yeah, this was definitely the Wild West times where things were a little more vulnerable to be made fun of, for sure.
Yeah, comedy was definitely something special in the 90s, and I look back on it fondly, as I think a lot of us do. So, I mean, some of our favorite movies are 90s comedies, and they don't work now, and I think we all recognize that why they don't work and everything, but we can pick out the things that we do like, and still admire them. And,
I think it wouldn't surprise me at all too that this is a good example of how trans people were kind of poked fun at in a comedic way that was very prominent at the time, that I feel like is no longer acceptable in comedy, or if it is accepted, it's very edgy. If they go to that topic like Dave Chappelle does, that it's still something that's used in a comedic way for against a population that feels like you're kind of punching down on. So I don't know, I just never. That's not the funny part.
No,
that was never the funny part to me.
I think as a young boy, I think it was funnier when he delivers the line "Mr. Winky." Calling a penis Mr. Winky is funnier than the reveal that it's a trans character. I think that is the funny part.
I don't think that was it wasn't a driving point enough in the movie to me that it's like I wouldn't, if I had children, maybe I would still show them the movie. I wouldn't think this is so, so edgy, so offensive that you as a younger child can't comprehend why the humor of this, but why it's also not acceptable anymore. So
somebody in the chat talked about the hemorrhoid line. I didn't know what hemorrhoids were at like 6, 7, 8 years old. Like, I don't know. I didn't think that was that as funny as some of the other stuff. Like him doing wacky voices and everything. That's my bread and butter there. So, all right.
I mean, we'll get to my funniest moment this time around, but for sure, I'd be interested to know, like, when you were a kid, like the funniest thing in this movie is him looking into the camera and being like, "I can't do it, Captain."
Yes,
I just like that was the kind of stuff that was funny to me. It wasn't like, oh, they're making fun of a group of people, ha 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 ha, you know.
Yeah.
So I still find the movie enjoyable, and I think that probably if you dug deep enough, you would hear Jim Carrey talk about, you know, like, as people like the guys from It's Always Sunny, they've used similar kinds of humor in the past and come full circle and be like, you know, we understand why that's not fun, you know, not as funny, and something that we should avoid in the future. So,
yeah. Same, Ryan. Somebody in the chat put like had to watch this one later in life because of the him talking with his butt. Yeah, my mom definitely wouldn't have flown in my house. So I couldn't say the word fart in my house growing up. So,
well, it's interesting, and I think maybe we'll probably get into this later. Just like the comparison of what was allowed, like Dumb and Dumber, viewed numerous times in the home, versus like, I don't necessarily find this much more offensive than the misogyny in Dumb and Dumber. You know, like, I think you can find it pretty much a lot of places you look. So it's interesting to me, though, like where people drew the line. It was like, oh no, not that.
Like I said, I watched The Mask so much when I was a kid, and I think it was just because we found a cheap VHS somewhere. My parents found it cheap and bought it, and I just wore it out. But yeah,
probably the most rented movie of all time for me personally. And like, I knew that they shoved those mufflers up their butts, and that was fine.
Yeah.
You know, like they got hold on to your lug nuts. It's time for an overhaul. Yeah. I knew what that meant.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, we did. Anyway, let's talk about this movie. We've already talked about it a little bit, but just to give you a breakdown of the movie, title is Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. It actually came out almost 30 years ago to today, February 4th, 1994. It was directed by Tom Shadyac. Or Shadyac. I think it is Shadyac. He is famous for directing movies like Nutty Professor, Patch Adams, Liar Liar, Bruce Almighty. So this is a guy that works with like probably the three craziest, or not craziest, but like biggest comic actors of all time. I mean, Eddie Murphy, Nutty Professor, Robin Williams, and Patch Adams, and Jim Carrey. So this guy knows, I guess, how to work with those kind of comedians that kind of just do whatever they want and tell you how it's going to be. This movie was written by Jack Bernstein. It was also added to by Tom Shadyac, and Jim Carrey also punched up this script and made it a little bit better than what it was earlier on. A couple people to note in the cast besides Jim Carrey as Ace Ventura: Sean Young, who's probably most famous for being in Blade Runner, plays Lois Einhorn / Ray Finkel. Sorry for everybody that hasn't seen this movie 30 years ago. The spoiler is that Einhorn is Finkel. Courtney Cox is in this as Melissa Robinson. Tone Loc, you might know him for Funky Cole Medina or The Wild Thing, plays Emilio. He's got a big 94. Because he's also in Blank Check that we'll talk about in a couple months. And then Dan Marino of note playing himself in this. So wanted to mention him as well. Tone Loc, yeah. I thought he was in this movie a little bit more than he was. And I was kind of surprised he wasn't in it that much.
Man, I was just looking. I was curious. I was like, I wonder if Dan Marino was in any other movies.
Is he?
Can you call any cameos that maybe he did?
I mean, maybe like a Adam Sandler movie?
Bingo. Little Nicky.
Okay. I knew it was something.
And
that's
Bad
crazy.
Boys 2, apparently.
Okay.
I was just curious. That was just a curiosity while you were listing the cast.
Yeah, I didn't know. I felt like a Adam Sandler movie was in there. Also, fun fact: Courtney Cox spells her name with 2 E's. I thought it looks weird to me. I don't know why. Well, I noticed this earlier. Court, E-N-E-Y. It seems weird to me.
Courteney.
Yeah, 2 E's there. That's so weird.
It's usually an A there, right?
Or just Courtney, like Courtney.
Yeah, you're right. Forced a silent E.
That's like Dwayne
Courtney.
Wade figuring out where the Y goes in his name. It's weird. It doesn't go where it's supposed to. Anyway, Let me give a synopsis of this movie. When the Dolphin mascot of Miami's NFL team is abducted, Ace Ventura, a zany private investigator who specializes in finding missing animals, looks into the case. Soon, Miami Dolphins players are kidnapped too, including star player Dan Marino, making Ace's sleuth work even more pressing. Working with Dolphins representative Melissa Robinson, Ace closes in on the culprits, but not before many ridiculous misadventures. Not bad. This movie had a budget of $15 million and it made $107.2 million at the box office. This was the number 16 movie of 1994. Couple reviews for this. Rotten Tomatoes gave this a 48%. It is the lowest reviewed of the three Jim Carrey movies that we're doing. IMDb has this at a 6.9 out of 10, and Letterboxd gave this a 3.2. Roger Ebert gave this 1 out of 4 stars, said that I found the movie a long, unfunny slog through an impenetrable plot. And Desson Thompson of the Washington Post said, treat this project as you would a safari. It has its slow parts, but the wildlife makes it worthwhile. Kind of like that. Good for him. That's a good, nice little review there. So is this a real? Okay. So somebody in chat just said, fun fact, 8 dolphins were killed during the making of this film, causing the industry to restructure the way they treat animals on set. Is that real?
Fact check.
Spencer, fact check yourself. Because if so, I mean, good. No, it's not real. Well, okay. Milo and Otis. If we're all going to be talking about animal movies, Milo and Otis is the worst one. They threw so many kittens off of cliffs into rivers just for that movie. So sorry to dash all your
got me, because I read it and I was like, he's joking. Oh wait, he's not joking.
8 dolphins.
Oh, maybe he is joking. Yeah, that's a lot of dolphins, man.
That's a lot of dolphins.
It's a lot of.
I could deal with 1 dolphin death, but not 8.
Can you eat dolphin?
I mean, you can eat anything.
But have you ever heard of a place that serves dolphin?
No, I don't think you can eat dolphin. I think it's illegal, probably. Here, anyway.
Yeah.
Dolphins are too smart for that. Yeah.
Man, I did, not to get too sidetracked, I did see that dolphins can like innovate and create. They taught these dolphins to like, to do something new, basically. They would give them a signal and they'd be like, do something you haven't done before. And then they taught 2 dolphins. They were like, hey, do something the 2 of you haven't done before. And they would like go down, communicate, and come back up and do something. Man, they're super smart. It makes sense that you can't eat them, but what if they're delicious?
I mean, you could say that about a lot of things.
Just like a human calf muscle, you know?
Oh, is a mahi a dolphin?
That's a
dolphin. It's a dolphin fish. I mean, you can eat mahi, but that's not the kind of dolphin that I'm thinking about.
But if you find a dolphin washed up on the beach, can you eat it?
I'm sorry, dolphins are notably dicks too. Google dolphin dick is the funniest thing I've heard.
They are mean.
They are mean. Yeah, I don't want to get into that, but Anyway, this movie went on to have, we already talked about the sequel, in 1995, Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls. There was an animated series, just kind of locking it up for, I think we've talked about it each of the last 2, that this one ran for 3 seasons. And there was a made-for-TV sequel called Ace Ventura Jr., Pet Detective, with a child of Ace's. And there had been some plans to revitalize this and bring him back specifically for Jim Carrey, but nothing has ever turned out for it. So
apparently you can eat dolphin in Japan and Peru.
Okay.
It's super illegal in the United States, though. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't eat a dolphin here.
Don't eat a dolphin, Spencer. Jeez.
Yeah, Spencer really wants to eat that dolphin.
I told you as I said it, it popped up. Of course he would.
Yeah,
Spencer would totally.
He hates sea creatures, though.
I don't want to bail you out, man.
He hates sea creatures. He hates whales. Free Willy was a nightmare for him. So Spencer loves whales. No, that is not true. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the movie.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So let's start with.
Go ahead and break it down.
Let's break it down, and let's get into the best scenes, or what we. I mean, this is basically where we're going to learn what each other thinks are the funniest scenes in this movie. So I'll let you go ahead.
I mean, the opener. Let's start with the opener, man. Like, I don't know that I can pinpoint when I saw this first, but the way he treats that box, I mean, like, while the opening credits are playing, has always been hilarious to me. Him, like, I did the, like, anytime something was on the floor, I would, after I saw this movie, I'd be like, "He shoot!" You know, like,
yeah, I've definitely kicked the box thinking that I was Ace Ventura.
Thinking I was Ace, and then him stealing the dog. I did notice more this time, like his shirt was all fluffed out while he was dribbling and I was like, oh man, I never noticed that before, that the fake dog was in there the whole time. He switches them out, and then the guy chases him down, which is intense, like takes the dog from the guy to save the dog, and the guy gets to his car with the baseball bat. And man, I've always been scared of somebody doing that ever since. So
yeah, the elevator opening and closing on it, that I love that so much. I love it. And he pulls it back after.
Man, I couldn't help but think this time, I'm glad elevators aren't like that.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine, like, he's trying to slide into an elevator and it's just.
If I were the people in that elevator with him, I'd be so mad. I'd be like, "Can we just go? Can we go, please?
Yeah,
get out of here." No, I love that scene. The opening scene is great, and you get everything you need to know, and you also get it set up for the rest of the movie that Ace can't look out his windshield for the rest of the movie.
Gotta be out the window the rest of the movie.
I love when
the people that ride with him too. Yes. They're out the window too.
Yeah, he loves it. I love that scene for this one. What's your next scene? I'm sure we have the same one.
I actually have the nothing until the dinner party.
Okay, I said the dolphin tank.
The tank inspection I had in quotations. I was trying to keep it down, but like, definitely the tank inspection, as I have where he finds the
gem.
Not diamond, the gem. That's the word for it. And I didn't know. Did you know when you first saw this movie? Were you like, "Oh, that's Star Trek. That's why that's funny"?
I don't think I knew.
No. I don't think I had no idea. It was just funny because it was like he was doing a character. It wasn't until much later on that I was like, "Oh, Star Trek."
Yeah.
That's why Ace was doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we get introduced to Courtney Cox and the dude that ends up getting killed. Predactor, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Roger Predactor.
And they're not going to tell the press that this dolphin's been kidnapped because they don't need any more press. They're like 3 days away from
They need to see
Super
the
Bowl.
trick. Yeah, they need to see the trick, man. The media
have to see the trick.
Gotta get the trick on film, man.
Yeah, and it's not even that cool of a trick, and it seems like he's done it before.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought before. I never realized that. Never put it together that it was like because the dolphin can kick the field goal, that's why they're like rubbing it in Finkel's face. That was a this time watch that I
Oh.
was like, oh, that's why he hates the dolphin, because they're like, look, even a fucking
Dolphin can do. I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, that didn't hit till this time, and I was like, oh man, yeah, fuck that dolphin if I'm Finkel.
Yeah. I mean, Dan Marino would be the one I'd want to kill the whole time. But yeah, I didn't even think about the dolphin. You're right. They're absolutely rubbing it in the face of Finkel that he screwed them over in that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the next scene I have is the ball or whatever, the gala.
Yeah, the gala, the dinner party, the fancy.
The fancy dinner party, which a lot of great stuff comes in this one.
Fun fact, this is the same balcony. I don't believe anything from him anymore. He's broken our trust.
Fake fact. We're not talking to Spencer anymore in the chat. We're not going to let him give us anything.
But because he said it's fake, now I'm like, is it real? Are we playing the opposite game? I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like this is the kind of scene at the dinner party where Jim Carrey just really they probably had a couple pages and Jim Carrey just brought it to life.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of my favorites at the dinner party is something that I still don't know why I think it's so funny when he's chewing the pate and he flashes it at the guy.
Oh yeah,
he's got food in his mouth, and the way he flashes it at him so fast just shows how talented Jim Carrey is to make something out of a nothing scene.
And I love before they even go in, she's like, "Don't embarrass me" or whatever it is, and he's doing the dance, and then he references. I guess this is a Love Boat reference before he walks in. I don't know. I've never watched the Love Boat ever, so
yeah. But I think and then he slips away because they've heard along the way that this guy's got the tank, right? That he ordered the tank, and so Ace slips away, goes to the bathroom, says his stomach is upset. Says his stomach is upset, slips away to the bathroom, slips away to the tank, and even to this day, I mean, from first watch to most recent watch, that water, man, the water in the tank, it's so dark. I don't know how they did it. I'd be interested to know what was in that water.
It was gross looking, and then that he's getting it in his mouth, and yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably just poopy water. I mean, you put a shark in a tiny little tank like that.
Dude, that's like swamp. It looks swamp water,
swampy,
like sewage water. Yeah, it looks.
Man,
they did a really good job of making it scary water.
Yeah, it's very scary water. But even before he gets to the room with the tank in it, I love the part where he's out on the balcony or whatever.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah, Mission Impossible, and he doesn't even need to be over on the thing, slipping out. And then
the way he hops over, like he catches the wall,
is one of the best things in a movie ever. That's I mean, just completely useless and hilarious. So, yeah. And then of course we get him coming out of the bathroom. They're all like, "Oh, where's he at?" And then he comes out. He's soaking wet. His clothes are torn up to bits, and he says, "Oh yeah," he slaps the pocket. He says, "Do not go in there.
Do not go in there." Woo.
How many times have we done that as kids?
Oh,
and to this day.
And I think they did such a good job of that pocket being just maxed out with water. So when he slapped it, it's just
shoots.
It's everywhere. Man, it's so good. Yeah, it's so good.
That's probably some backyard sauce, according to the chat there.
That backyard sauce. You gotta watch
backyard
out for
sauce.
It. Yeah.
All right. What's your next scene?
Next scene. Let's see. After the dinner party, I've got Finkel's house with Finkel's parents.
Okay. I think that happens before they go to the Shady Acres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love the way Finkel's parents go open up with him with the shotgun.
And he's like, and a new set of pants or whatever it is.
Yep. Yeah, I love the people. I don't know who those people are, but the people that play Finkel's parents, I think this time around I was like, I think they're maybe my scene stealers, because like they just crushed it.
His mom, Finkel's mom, is hilarious.
Yeah, they crushed it. Both of them. I mean, they do such a good job of just being a grouchy old couple.
She has one of the quotes that I wrote down. I'll go ahead and say it. She's talking about Dan Marino. She says, "It was all that Dan Marino's fault. Everyone knows that. If he had held the ball, laces out like he was supposed to, Ray would have never missed that kick. Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea and rot in hell." Would you like to just delivered it perfectly. That's
she crushes.
The only thing I had seen her in, she's in the original Ghostbusters movie.
Okay.
She's like
who's she in that?
She's the librarian at the very beginning.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, and she's also in the movie To Wong Fu, and she's hilarious in that movie as well. So there you go. Love that lady. She is a good
great
scene stealer
casting
in there.
Yeah, great casting right there for Finkel's mom. And I feel like the dad does a great job too. I don't have any quotes from him or anything, but I just felt like this time around I was like, man, they were perfect for that.
Yeah. So good.
What you got next?
The next scene I had is Shady Acres, where he's in the tutu and he's oh my God.
I like, to me, like that's another thing that, probably in 2024, like poking fun of the mental facility. Like that was one of the funnier parts, him running around in the tutu with his hair even more kind of wacky. And in 2024, my current profession, it just it was like, okay, yeah, this probably couldn't be done this way now.
When you think about it, like that is such an absurd, like if you were to walk into a mental health facility now and somebody's acting like that, you're going to be like, you're faking. Like
it reminds me of when these guys try to go on welfare,
and
they're faking. And now that's something that I don't know who it would take to do something like that now, but I don't think a lot of people would. So
put me
exactly.
But we have the where he's like, "Put me in, coach," and he runs the play, and then he's like, "Let's see that."
He's reaching in the bushes.
It's a button hook. So good. He looks ridiculous. My favorite scene is, I think it's been turned into a GIF or a GIF, however you want to pronounce it, but where he's doing the touchdown dance where his knees are going back and forth. I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Scene there. So anything else we need to talk about with that?
Well, let's see why he's there. Why did he go to the mental hospital again?
I think they were trying to, because Ray Finkel broke out of there. And
he's trying to get to the files.
Yes, the files.
Yeah, he's trying to get to the files. Yeah, so he gets to the files. And then
I do love when stuff. I do love the part that Spencer referenced in the chat where he slams his head down right by the water fountain.
He'll be good there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So funny. So good. All right. What's your next scene?
Crack in the case is what I, just kind of the final reveal.
So before we get into Crack in the Case, which is my final scene as well, when he finds out that Finkel is Einhorn, Einhorn is Finkel, earlier in this movie, so when it showed, I rented it instead of watching it on YouTube, but when I rented it, at the top of my screen, it was like nudity in this movie, and I was like, what is the nudity in this movie? I've seen this movie hundreds of times, and I could not remember.
Revealing bra.
Yeah. Well, no,
Yeah.
that wasn't even it. I was saying it was Jim Carrey finding out that Finkel is Einhorn, and then he gets in the
Mm.
shower naked to wash himself off.
That's right. Which totally reminded me because number 2 comes first in my mind. Reminded me of him coming out of the hippo.
Oh, yeah.
In the second one, he's like in the same position when he comes out. Yeah,
Yeah, I think I do like the second one better.
yeah. The second one, I just feel like it got a little bit more refined in my mind. They just let Jim Carrey go crazy on the second one, but
Yes. But I just wanted to pull that out, and he does find out that Einhorn has faked her identity. She's actually Ray Finkel,
but everybody else doesn't know yet.
Nobody else knows yet. And so Ace goes to the docks where he follows Einhorn there, goes to the docks and takes out a couple bad dudes, and
got Dan Marino.
Dan Marino's there,
held captive.
I kind of love when she's got both Ace and Marino at gunpoint, and they're just like arguing with each other over who to kill. I was like, that's pretty great.
Kill him.
Kill him. But then the cops come, and Einhorn's trying to save face, and he's like, Einhorn's a man, and starts ripping off her clothes, and she's got the bra, the panties on. Doesn't look like there's anything out of the ordinary there. And then
I couldn't help but notice this time from like off rip when the pants come off, I was like, those legs are closed.
Yeah.
Those legs are tucked.
It's the little things.
Something, yeah. I don't know that, in my earlier days watches that I was like, it didn't seem as obvious, but I was like, this time the posture said a lot to me. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this earlier, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit more in our categories. A lot of foreshadowing that we missed and picked up on as we were watching this. So, everybody starts like spitting and cleaning their mouths out after they find out, because apparently they've all kissed Einhorn at some point.
Einhorn's been around.
Which, yes, again, this is a very poor reaction to not that big of a deal nowadays, and
let's be clear about something too. Like that's a woman playing that role, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she's pretty attractive too. So to me, it's not like that's like you and I have touched on. To me, like that was never the funny part. That was never the part that I thought was like.
And I don't think I got it really.
I don't think
for the longest time.
Yeah, I didn't understand it.
Yeah, when she kisses Ace, he mentions that her gun is digging into his hip. Yeah. That was one that when we watched this when we were younger, you just don't think about it. You don't think, you just think he has a gun or she has a gun.
Yeah.
So it's the little things that you pick up on. Again, probably not done again today. But yeah. And then the dolphin and Ace save the day, and
then the dolphin does the Super Bowl thing, and then
and
my final scene that I have in quotations is Ace beating the shit out of the mascot,
the Philadelphia Eagle there.
Man, because again, with these guys, like it reminds me of him beating up the
Philly Frenetic,
the Philly Frenetic, and I don't know if you feel this or not. I want to do that. Like it's fun to beat up a mascot because it's like it's not hurting them fully because they've got like all this padding on, and so just like beating up a mascot, birds of war. Exactly.
I was a mascot in high school, so I wouldn't have appreciated.
Was it? Was it like? What were you first?
I was a Mustang.
Okay, so like you were the back end or the front end?
I was the whole end.
So you were on all fours?
No, I wasn't on all fours. I was just like a standing humanoid version of a Mustang, and I just had like a giant head.
Okay. So
Oh,
you
so
just had
we've
you
got
were
another
like,
mascot in the chat. Somebody else was a mascot and almost got beat up. So
all right. In the chat, we need to know what you were and how much a hornet. Okay.
she had a stinger.
Somebody with you between you and the suit, how much space was it? Like on you?
Yeah, mine was pretty thin.
Okay. I mean,
The head, though, if you would have punched my head, I wouldn't have felt it. You're right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's just something fun, just fun. Like it feels like, oh yeah, mascot
love.
Mascot love.
It's the hornet and a horse getting it on. It was meant to be.
Meant to be mascot love.
I'll write a song about it. Oh my gosh.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. There's something that seems fun about attacking mascots. Maybe I'm alone. Maybe I'm alone. Maybe there's nobody else out there.
A teacher had to intervene. This is from chat for all those people listening. A teacher had to intervene, but it was like on her body, not a lot of space. That's how mine was too. Like it was just a little suit, like a sweatsuit that I pulled on. And yes, the head smelled very bad, but it just smelled like sweat. You know, that stale sweat smell. That's what mine smelled like. I can't speak for Alyssa.
It smelled like sweaty bangs.
It was just balls, and I was like, somebody was dipping their cornbread in there or something. I don't know, man.
Dipping it.
All right, so that's Ace Ventura. Those are the best scenes in this movie.
Those are the best. That man.
All right.
There's a lot of good quotes.
There are a lot of good quotes and a lot of things that I definitely missed when I watched when I was younger. That had me dying. Like I laughed pretty hard at two very obscure scenes in this.
I'm interested.
And so, who is your favorite? Who do you think's that? I think my favorite character is Ace. But you said a couple scene stealers. Do you have any other scene stealers?
I mean, Ace is. I mean, Jim Carrey's incredible. You can tell how much he brought to this. Especially coming from number 2, and like being kind of familiar. I think if you've seen 1 and you go into 2, or you've seen 2 and you go into 1, you're kind of familiar. They kind of replay some of the jokes. And man, he just brings so much to both of them. You know, his physical comedy is something else. Man, he can really do the way I think, you know, not to jump ahead, but like one of the most laughable moments is how quick he flashes that food in his mouth.
Yeah, it's so good.
And like does 2 different poses within like a second.
And this is a movie too where I feel like it is solely on him. The other 2 movies that we watched, were Dumb and Dumber. He's got Jeff Daniels to play off of. In The Mask, he's Cameron Diaz. Only when he is the mask too is he, you know,
you got like a
crazy.
Really serious villain in The Mask as well too.
Yeah.
Like, man, that's a great point, Cody, that like Jim Carrey just carries this movie.
Yeah. So
the entire thing.
Yeah,
because everybody's there.
She's there. She's boring though. Like
she's there, yeah, but she doesn't do a whole lot. And you know, fun fact, apparently she hated doing this movie.
Yeah. Like I read something where Jennifer Aniston was gonna bring it over. And Courtney Cox was like, "Don't you fucking do that!" Like,
refuses to watch the movie and really didn't enjoy her time filming it. Apparently,
I can't. I'm not even gonna read or give any attention to the chat right now, because they're just talking about mascots right now. And this is some of the fun that you can have if you're in here in the live. But I'm not gonna read these. You guys are
who knew, man? Who knew you and Alyssa were in mascots? That's crazy. That's crazy. What are the odds?
We're the cool kids, because
I mean,
all the cool kids were definitely mascots.
One person gets that honor,
No.
You got to earn it.
You got to earn it. Yeah, they wanted me to do cheerleading, and I said, no way. Not without the mask on. Nobody knew me until I put on the mask.
So did you still do some Arab? Did you still do some flips and tumbles?
I actually did a toe touch, and yes, the head did fall off one time because so whenever they were announcing our team at basketball, the job of the mascot was to slide in front of the crowd, like get on your belly and slide in front of the crowd, like across the floor.
Baseball slide,
like a baseball slide. And as I was sliding, my head came off, and I had to like put it on real quick. So,
wow, man. Life of a mascot.
There's so much mascot talk. So much mascot talk, man. So many mascots here. Well, this will be on my other podcast, Mascot Talk.
Mascot Talk. Yeah,
which airs
right after this.
Right after this, definitely right after this. I want to give some credit. So we were talking like Ace is pretty much the only character in this movie. I think you raised a good point with the parents of Finkel being great scene stealer. Einhorn, I think she is the next best person in this movie.
And Marino's not terrible. That's another thing I was going to bring up. It's like he doesn't seem like a football player who's like, I don't know what to do. I'm in a movie, like he does pretty good. If he's like you brought up when they're being sassy with each other.
Yeah, that was pretty.
When they're both tied up, I think Marino did pretty good there.
Yeah,
did pretty
I agree.
Yeah,
but I loved Einhorn. She was great the whole way, like of being that dick of a lieutenant or whatever. And
yeah, I feel like some more of the foreshadowing we get is the very first thing out of her mouth is like Ventura. real low. So,
somebody asked about the. So somebody said, was there an OJ reference in this movie with the isotoners, the Bronco chase, the revolver? No, because the Bronco chase doesn't happen until later this year. And OJ doesn't wear the isotoners were just a hot item in the 90s, by the way.
Man, maybe OJ was watching a lot of Ace Ventura.
He's like, I can get away with this. No problem.
There it is.
Allegedly. Can't say anything or else it's we're doing something bad. I can't think of what it's called.
I'm pretty sure they're
slander.
Yeah, exactly. He'll be fine.
Well, OJ is a fan of the pod, so we want to make sure that he's not excluded.
Hey, shout out OJ for being in the chat.
Oh, look at this. We've got some chat information here. Marino was the face of Isotoner back in the day, so he did all their commercials. That's why they're Isotoners.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. He was a good football player.
He's a good football player.
He's a great football player. Good enough that they were like, hey, you should be in a movie.
They were like, let's base this on the Miami Dolphins.
You're so
a great
good
idea.
At that ball, you should be in a movie, boy.
Does Stan Marino have a Super Bowl? I don't know if he does.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been tough to play that, like, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl, and never to have actually. Yeah, I'll let the chat. Dan Marino did the Dolphins with Dan Marino ever? No,
I don't think he won.
Yeah,
sucks. He's not that good.
He's good at throwing that ball, though.
We're not going to get into O.J. Simpson talk either. You're just steering us in places we don't need to go, chat. All right. I gave out my Einhorn love, so that's all that matters. Okay, let's talk about some favorite quotes.
I mean, this is where we get a lot that goes into number 2. We get. I think you get number 1 is alrighty then, right?
Alrighty then, yeah.
I mean, that's probably for me in my life. If you like rewind everything, that's the one I've quoted the most. I would almost.
Also, okay. Is it okay now? Bye bye then. Is that okay now?
Bye
bye then. I used to say that a lot. So
I'd say number 2 is gonna be Lahu Zahir.
Classic. Like, does he have any other like catchphrases? I think are those the only ones? I think so.
We've already brought up "Do not go in there," which is that's another one that I've probably done. Like that's probably number 3. Mm-hmm. I've come out of a bathroom and been like, "Do not go in there."
I'm gonna do that for the next year, probably. I'm gonna bring it back.
You just gotta fill your pocket with water before you leave the bathroom.
I still love that. I've got some other obscure ones. Do you have any others besides the big ones?
I do. There was one that let's see. There was a couple things that happened in this one that I don't remember like in all the years of liking this movie that kind of got me. I didn't expect. One of those was when Ace and Courtney Cox's character get into it. He goes, "Yeah, and you're ugly."
Oh yes, I love when he's being just mean to her. I feel like I
forgot
put
about
on 10 pounds or something.
Yeah, I think I forgot about that completely. So when he was like, "Yeah, and you're ugly," it kind of caught me in my funny bone.
And she's just laughing the whole time that he keeps saying these things to her. Too.
Yeah, and and she's obviously like the hottie of the movie.
Yeah,
too, you know.
That
one got me.
Speaking of Melissa and Ace Ventura, she says that after he kind of figures out the we didn't talk about this, but the soundproof door scene.
Yeah.
After he finds that out, she says that was pretty impressive what you did at the apartment, and Ace says you don't have to tell me, I was there. He's just awesome. You don't have to tell me, I was there.
Man, this is when he just starts to it sounds like he worked really hard with the writers and director to the hair and get the whole one of my favorite things is the walk. One of my fun facts is that he based that off a bird, just the way he walked.
And the way he dressed too, because that's what he wore the Hawaiian shirts to be like a bird.
Alrighty then.
Melissa also says, you really love animals, don't you? And Ace returns with, if it gets cold enough, which I never would have caught that when I was a kid.
That one flew over my head as a kid for sure.
Never got that one. And then the other one that I wrote down was, I have exorcised the demons. This house is clear.
This house is clear. I got, yes, Satan. Oh, sorry, sir. You sounded like someone else.
Holy Testicle Tuesday.
Which is, a lot of that is just Jim Carrey improvising.
Yeah, just
they just caught him being wild. Man, he's so good.
Do you have any other quotes? Those were the only ones I wrote down.
Yeah, those are the last. My biggest laugh is kind of a quote this time around.
Okay.
And it was another one just kind of and you're ugly, that I forgot about. I don't know. I guess from late high school through college, I did see this movie a bunch of times, but I forgot about when he's talking to Einhorn and he's like, "Is it number 1 or number 2? Number 2. I just want to know how much time I've got."
When he asked with his ass if he had a mint is another great. The whole ass talking scene is pretty great.
I'd like to ask you a question.
He starts coughing with it.
Well, if you're going to make a stink out of it.
Classic. Asic, if you would. the chloroform scene, somebody mentioned in chat where he's stalking down the football players to see if they have the missing stone in their Super Bowl or their AFC Championship rings.
Man, what a good montage, right? Isn't it Spencer that loves a good montage?
Spencer loves a montage.
Man, the montage where he's doing all the gym chasing and the ring chasing is
and
so
he gets punched in the forehead and he counts how many gyms are in there.
When he's hiding in the mailbox and holds the guy's arm in there with the lighter.
Classic. It's great. My biggest laugh was at the party, and I've never noticed this until now. When I just watched it, he walks by the string quartet that's playing, and he pulls on this cellist's arm. Is the funniest thing I've ever seen in a movie.
Improvised.
Yeah.
Improvised too. Yeah. Apparently just did that. And that just showed, man, to me, like that's like the flashing of the food.
Yeah. It's the exact same
It's just
thing.
like you made something out of nothing.
But man,
you were just supposed to walk in, and instead you were like, grabs the guy's arm.
And the car crash scene that he has, I don't know why, but that scene really made me laugh because all of a sudden his car just like flips like crazy after it's and that scene. I don't know why. I thought
that's
I laughed
another
really
thing that like coming from number 2. And then you see number 1, and it's like, oh yeah, he's still doing that. Where he just like pulls up to the police station and like, and like hits the parking lot.
Yes, so that's a quote we missed. Like a glove.
Like a glove.
And again, going back to When Nature Calls, I think the funnier joke scene is when he's doing it in the Jeep and he's singing Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and bouncing all over, and then it flips and he says the like a glove scene. I think that's
a glove.
Like a glove. So we missed that one.
That's
good job,
gotta be from something, right?
I mean, just fits like a glove.
It's kind of like the Star Trek thing that makes me think, is the like a glove from something? Is he like quoting something else that I don't know about? It feels like he is maybe there.
Again, it's not like O.J. Simpson, chat. That didn't happen until much later in this year. Know your 1994 history or get out of my chat.
I feel like we could just shut the chat up if O.J. Simpson was a mascot of some kind.
Oh my gosh.
Just
that
everyone could beat up, you know?
Just talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
Travel. Get out of here. Any other? There's nothing crying worthy or scare worthy or thrill worthy in this movie.
No.
To me.
No, it was just my biggest laugh, which was either between, yeah, and you're ugly. Like, it sounded like you and Joseph bickering with each other. Like, it's just, it felt really improvised, felt fresh. Like, I liked that. And is it number 1 or number 2? I just want to know how much time I have.
I'm gonna start calling Joseph ugly every time I talk to him.
And you're ugly.
You have for your most what the fuck ridiculous moment?
I mean, I didn't have much for this one, but it was early when the guy's beating up his car and he like grabs on to the back. There's glass everywhere, no blood.
No blood.
What the fuck?
That is but leads to a very funny moment that we also didn't talk about is where the dog starts chewing on his one arm and then Ace starts gnawing on it.
God, I love that. Yeah. I love how he just bites them knuckles.
No.
What a scary dude they got for that.
Yeah, he was a really scary guy.
Man, he was a scary dude.
I obviously had Mr. Winky as the like really like cringy moment of this when it's like, okay, this is how we're gonna reveal everything. Yeah, I didn't
that
love
shot. That. You gotta wonder what that was in there. In those panties.
No, it's like they picked out a fake dick for the movie. The director had to pick out a fake dick. for this movie. So fun fact.
It had to be like, hey, costume and design. We need like a 4-incher, 5-incher, definitely
Yeah.
flaccid.
We need to tuck it back there.
Tuck it, yeah, but make the panties big enough that you can fit it in there so you can't see it,
Yeah.
But yeah, good tuck job though. Good tuck job.
Good tuck. That's a good tuck. Best music moment in this movie.
Man, I didn't have anything for the best music moment of this one. Just because. Did you?
Yeah, I had a couple, but I'm not surprised. Like, typically when we do this, we're either we're focusing on like a specific moment, like a song that really elevates it. Nothing really elevates this, but I had 3 things written down because I wanted to talk about each of them. The Lion Sleeps Tonight when Ace and Melissa hook up, and then the second one I had was the Cannibal Corpse scene, where Ace goes to that random club. I almost completely forgot that he has some like insider hacker guy who's tracing.
Did you know too that apparently there's like deleted scenes where Ace is on stage?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. There's deleted scenes where like Ace is on stage, like
I just love how everybody in that scene is just headbanging, total metal stuff, and Ace is just in the background, like,
He does the Frank dance. He does the Frank dance.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And then if you stayed for the credits, Ace is in the House by Tone Loc, and Jim Carrey is such a great rap song, and I'm joking, but I do want to make sure that everybody knows that there is an Ace Ventura rap song.
I don't know that I stayed for the credits, so
nobody does.
I'll have to check it out.
No, I think the Cannibal Corpse scene is probably the best one, just because it's a real band, Cannibal Corpse, and
man, I almost feel like Lion Sleeps Tonight is used in number 2 as well, but
probably sure. It would make sense in number 2
during like the sexy scene. So
yeah,
that was a good call. I watched this one and I didn't nothing grabbed me musically, but those are some good calls for sure.
All right,
good call outs.
So I've got a fuck, marry, kill instead of a smash or pass for this one.
It's gonna be easy. It's gonna be
so easy. Einhorn,
okay,
Melissa, and Mrs. Finkel.
Okay, Einhorn, Melissa, Mrs. Finkel. And are we talking about end of the movie Einhorn?
I'll say no. I'll say it's not revealed that Finkel is Einhorn yet.
Okay. That changed because that's important. Would you agree? And you're and where you put things?
I don't. I'm an equal opportunity lover. I'll love anybody.
Come on. I mean, if there's a dick down there,
whatever. I'll suck it.
Oh, you said it. Okay.
If it means me taking a chubby, I'll suck it up. That's from Arrested Development.
Arrested. You should get a recorder and record yourself.
Done. Yeah.
Okay.
Chat, feel free to weigh in how you think too.
Melissa Einhorn and who else? Remember
Mrs. Finkel.
Mrs. Finkel. And we're saying possibly not into the movie Einhorn. Then I would say kill no, Alyssa. Stop for a second, because let's start with Mrs. Finkel, because she's old. Okay. You're wrong too, Spencer. maybe Joseph's right. I'm not there yet. Okay, maybe right, Alyssa. Hold on. Let's just start with Miss Finkel, right? Because she's old, so she's gotta. You gotta go there, and so I'll say marry Melissa, and hopefully in a very late stage of Einhorn's existence
Transition.
and then transition, we would get a good old fucking. But like you said, if I gotta push it out of the way, I will.
I'll do what I need to. I love. Well, I can't believe we've got two people that are killing.
Push it out of the way, Negro Modelo.
Two people are killing Melissa in the chat, and a lot of Mary for Miss Finkel, effing Einhorns.
What do you think? She's got money or something? Why would you do that to yourself?
I think I'm killing.
They're like, oh, you're hilarious. I love you. Now you're dead.
I think I'm killing Mrs. Finkel, because she's kind of a nut.
And you're not marrying Einhorn.
No, I'm effing Einhorn.
Yeah,
and I'm marrying.
Let's just be logical about this.
Yeah,
it's kill Miss Finkel.
Yeah,
marry Melissa.
Steven's right. He wins the award. So,
that's
the right answer here. Best performance in this movie,
Mr. Carey.
Mr. Carey.
I mean, because he carries. We've already established this, right? And we're gonna get to this really soon in the recast, right? Because we've talked about this 2 times already. When you're trying to recast Jim Carrey, I think that's when you really fast realize, no,
you can't.
Nobody, especially in this day and age, can do that and then do it as well, and just really make something out of nothing. A lot of times, I was so. You turn such a scary scene with the shark into something so funny with the way he's getting drug around in the water, and it made, it was the first time I think I experienced that where I was like, this is kind of creepy. That water's gross and shark, and I'm already scared of sharks because of Jaws. But it's funny that he's getting drug around by it. So
yeah. You're absolutely right. And if we'll go ahead and move into the recast, obviously, I don't think you could recast anybody in this movie. There were some bad names associated with who was going to be Ace Ventura, and there were some pretty bad ones thrown out.
Yeah, that was one of my fun facts is Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis was supposed to be Ace Ventura.
That they were like, maybe let's make it a lady, and it could be Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg was thrown out there. Yeah.
Yeah. But Courtney Cox could be played by anybody.
Yes, anybody.
And everybody in this movie could be played by mostly anybody besides Jim Carrey. And I would say if I'm gonna recast anybody at any time, one of the best people that has been brought up, I think it was brought up for The Mask and maybe for Dumb and Dumber as well, is the Workaholics guys.
Yeah.
I can see Adam doing Ace.
Mm-hmm. I can see Blake doing it too.
I could see Blake doing it as well. Maybe Anders. I don't know what that guy's real name, but probably not. He would need to be the rich guy that threw the dinner party.
Yeah. I picked Ben Schwartz. Could be so
good call.
I'm thinking John Ralphio. John Ralphio.
Yeah.
He gives a Ace Ventura vibe.
Man, good one. So few people could fill that role. And that's I would actually love to see that.
I thought, okay, somebody said, oh my gosh, I'm tired. We'll read it. I'll read it for those people that are listening. Chat
Hear
says,
me
recast for Marino. Hear me out. Peyton Manning, Bronco as the mascot. Cody makes an appearance in full mascot gear, and maybe OJ and his Bronco if we're time traveling. So I like that. That was good. That's good.
Yeah, I'm in.
Gosh.
And Ben Schwartz as
And Ben,
Jim Carrey.
yeah, Ben Schwartz. We'll throw him in there.
Yeah.
I threw in Kid Cudi as the Tone Loc character just because he's a rapper that acts.
God, his new album's terrible, but yeah,
that's a bummer.
Yeah.
And
try.
then
I mean, give it a try. Give it a try. Everybody, don't listen to me.
And then I tried. I want to stay away from the trans thing with the everything. Unless you address it like early on, like it's not a reveal or something. Maybe they're just like, oh, hey, this is a trans character. I don't know. I don't know how you do it, but you just don't. You just don't do it.
I think you throw in Jonathan from Queer Eye.
Okay.
And just as Einhorn the whole time. And just see how it goes. Go non-binary with it and go one step further. Fuck being trans.
Make it inclusive.
Be non-binary. Like who cares about gender entirely? And throw Jonathan, which is
I think they could rework the story and just be like, this was a former kicker that and that is now a police officer.
I like it.
Let's just do that. Yeah, we did it. We solved it. All right, some fun facts about this movie before we get to our big question. This movie has a body count of 1/2 if you count the real Einhorn, who was a hiker lost in the lost while hiking.
Point.
So
yeah.
Couple other things. I'll go. Adam Sandler was another one. He turned down the role of Ace Ventura. I had that written down.
Could have been fun.
Yeah, I think especially talking about this, like this time period, it's like Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey. Those are your comedy movies out and we lose Chris Farley, in the later 90s. But that's the kind of comedy that we have.
Anything to bump the body count.
Ray Finkel lost himself. I'm not counting that. The original concept for the Pet Detective was a idiot, and Jim Carrey, when he was cast, he rewrote the character so that he had two conditions. The comedy had to be like zany as physically possible, is what it says here, and his character, despite his quirks and eccentricity, should be good at what he does. And I always like that.
Yeah, his like the way he solves the case when he's actually at the crime scene. Mm-hmm. That's another thing we didn't really mention. That's so, man, I've always loved that. The way he hold on. He just has to take a deep breath before he tells everybody what has happened.
No, he's so good. But I love that when they take a character like that that's kind of seen as like goofy or weird or dumb even, but they're actually really good at what they do. I think it's every time in The Office, when I'm watching The Office, when Michael Scott does something that is like very competent and like he's actually a good sales person, like I really love those moments. So
yeah, I think that the point of Chris Farley possibly playing the role or a younger Steve Martin for sure could have maybe been funny for sure.
Yeah, I think Chris Farley could have been really funny. Again, just a real physical comedian too.
Yeah,
throwing his body around in a different way, whereas like Ace or Jim Carrey moves like a bird, Chris Farley moves around like a bull in a china shop kind of thing.
I mean, the only other thing that I had fun fact wise is that the ass talking, as well as like why they kind of reached out to Jim Carrey in general, is from In Living Color. They saw some footage from Jim Carrey in Living Color, and he was already talking with his butt cheeks. So, I mean, I think that's another thing as like a teenage boy that I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah. I've definitely talked with my butt before.
Yeah, definitely. And, other extremities. So there's even certain voices for it.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
A couple of this was Jim Carrey's breakout role. This is like the thing that sets him on his path to becoming Jim Carrey. So this is the first thing, like movie wise, that we're seeing of him in this role. And
he's, I mean, I got to speak to him being one of my favorites because of this. Because as I'm younger in life, I get The Mask, I get Dumb and Dumber, I get Ace Ventura 1, I get Ace Ventura 2, I get Liar Liar, I get The Truman Show, one of his first like kind of serious but still funny movies. I get Fun with Dick and Jane. I get The Majestic.
The Majestic. I was telling somebody about that. Yeah.
And then, I get dragged to this indie theater in college to see Eternal Sunshine after all these years of knowing this about Jim Carrey, and get brought into like seeing movies completely different at what a message they could bring and how heavy they could be. To go from The Mask, where we started a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot you could say about even further into his career, the things that he's done. 23 for sure.
I hated that movie, by the way. I hated the number 23.
I did. It's not my favorite, but I don't hate it because it just shows his range, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Robin Williams did with what did you
the Grinch. We forgot about the Grinch.
Yeah, What Dreams May Come. Was Robin Williams' Eternal Sunshine. It just got really artistic. And then 23, Robin Williams did what was it The Pharmacist or where he was developing? No, he was developing the photos.
1 Hour Photo.
1 Hour Photo. It was weird and kind of creepy. They both kind of went the same way, but like Jim Carrey is still around, and I mean, like I think both of them, in my mind, have such a range from like making me laugh out loud with the dumbest humor, the Will Ferrell slapstick humor, to making me cry hard in Patch Adams and in Eternal Sunshine and The Truman Show and The Majestic. Like, what a range as an actor to make you laugh so hard and cry so hard as well.
Yeah. I feel like Robin Williams gave us a lot more of those dramatic roles. I wish Jim Carrey would give us a little bit more of those.
Apparently you got to be careful, I think you got to be careful with those kind of roles. I think we saw that with Jim Carrey with Man on the Moon, with Eternal Sunshine as well. I think Robin Williams really dove into some characters that took him to dark places, like What Dreams May Come. I really think was such a game changer, where we lose somebody like him to suicide, whereas he's made a movie earlier in his career about the exact same thing. And he did some things late in his career, like RV, that didn't do so well, and certain things.
Jim Carrey, like, he's done some things that aren't, the best. Mr. Popper's Penguins,
but now he's an artist and he's having a fun time making paintings. So that's what I could not speak. I think he's my favorite actor of all time. As we kind of close out on Jim Carrey and these three movies from '94, I just don't know that there's anybody that has made me feel Mrs. Doubtfire like Robin Williams did, and The Mask and Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura and Ace Ventura 1, but then taken me to Eternal Sunshine. Like, only Robin Williams and Jim Carrey have done such a thing, in my personal opinion, to take me from like kind of both ends of the spectrum.
So I agree with all that stuff. I think you're right. And I think that's why Robin Williams is I consider him one of my favorite actors of all time. He's just
very similar in my brain.
Yeah.
The way their careers, and I think Jim Carrey's been to a dark place too, and just kind of luckily made it out. whereas Robin Williams and Philip Seymour Hoffman didn't. You know, like some of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
Even getting a little choked up talking about it, just like really took me from laughing out loud, hilarious. I mean, you think about Philip Seymour Hoffman as in
Along Came Polly.
Along Came Polly.
White chocolate.
to pirate radio, like man, to tears, from laughing out loud to crying hard. And what an ability.
Yeah.
You know,
incredible.
Yeah.
But now he's Dr. Robotnik in Sonic the Hedgehog. Which are fun
fine,
movies.
Man.
They're fun
Make
movies.
Your fucking money, Jim. Make your fucking money,
get
bro.
Get that paper.
Get
All
that
right.
paper.
While we're we brought it down, let's go to the big question.
Answer the question.
Excuse me. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Okay, but the big question on everybody's lips.
Yeah, they're chapped lips.
They're chapped lips, right.
Does that answer your question?
Good question, Aguado.
No, that's the most important question to which I hope to find an answer.
I made it only 15 seconds
You
long.
did it.
Suck it, everybody. Yeah. Anyway, there were
the big
two.
Question, man?
The two so one, I kind of broke this down, but I wanted to do how can we change the ending of this movie to make it better. But I like the question that you gave to me earlier when we were talking earlier of which of these 3 Jim Carrey movies that we went over the last 3 weeks, which one is your favorite and why?
I think Dumb and Dumber, and that's because it is gold from beginning to end. Every scene across the board. If I was doing Dumb and Dumber with you and you said, tell me something that you didn't like, something bad about the movie, I completely agreed that his dream, like while he's driving and falls asleep, is the most what the fuck moment. From outside of that moment, everything else in Dumb and Dumber is perfection. Like in my mind, as far as comedy and humor goes, they hit it all. They hit it all, from him biting the airbag, jumping the truck, jumping the dog truck, to the snowball fight. I mean, to him dosing him with X-Lax and him shitting all in Mary. Like, dude, that movie is perfect.
Yeah. I wish I had a different opinion from you on this, but I think you're absolutely right. I think Dumb and Dumber is a 5-star comedy. Like,
it doesn't get much better. If you don't like that, you don't like slapstick humor at all.
Yeah.
Like him hitting him in the back of the legs, them killing the owl, the bird, them breaking the bird in half. Like it just Jeff Daniels, the way those two, Jeff Daniels like really feeds off Jim Carrey and is kind of the logical. That's why at first when we were doing the Who's Dumb and Who's Dumber, I was leaning a certain direction. But man, like the way those two feed off each other, and you brought up, I think the reason maybe Ace, even 1 and 2 are not as good as Dumb and Dumber is because he's carrying. He doesn't have that sidekick to like carry him the way Jeff Daniels did. And the way you've got these side characters with Shay and what's the guy Pills are good. Mental. They do great. Like Mary's great in that movie. And then you go into The Mask and there is a good villain. You've got the lovable dog.
I found myself getting annoyed by The Mask.
Yeah. I think maybe when I was in the chat, I said that it just felt like when I really liked the cartoon aspect of The Mask as a kid.
Yes.
As an adult, I did not enjoy it as much. Whereas with Ace, I enjoy number 2 because it feels more refined, like they nailed the jokes a little harder with Bumblebee Tuna. Excuse me, your balls are showing. All that stuff, even with all the alrighty thens, like they really nailed the jokes in number 2 the way they did with Dumb and Dumber. And that's just because there was Jeff Daniels there. That to me, that's what really like elevates it just a hair above The Mask and Ace Ventura 1 and 2 even, is that Jeff Daniels is there to be like, you know,
I really do think
you've
that
had 2 pair of gloves this whole time.
Yeah, it's like a joke. There's like a joke every like not every second, but there is like a joke a minute in Dumb and Dumber, and it does not let up the entire time. Whereas this one,
Spencer, how many quotes did you have? What was it?
81 or 91 or something like that is what he had listed. Like that is seriously, that is 1 a minute for that movie.
I couldn't come up with that many for Ace Ventura or The Mask probably combined.
Right. And I think I was talking about this with Alyssa. Ace Ventura, I think, has the most story, like an actual story. Here's the plot. Here is I think it has the best. But and Dumb and Dumber probably honestly has like the weakest story out of all of them. But just in story, just from here is the save the cat moment where it's like, okay, here's our problem, here's how we solve it, and getting there between all that stuff. I think Ace Ventura has the actual story, but Dumb and Dumber it's still, even with lack of that stuff and just overall zaniness and just absurdity, it's still
rebuttal for Dumb and Dumber is that the moment that he's like, I am sick of fucking being nothing, man. I'm sick of having nobody. Everything makes sense after that.
Yeah.
I'm sick of being a fucking loser. Like everything.
But that's not his motivation. He is fucking with Harry after that because all he wants is that girl. That's all he wants.
He's just so focused on her, like he's just sees a girl that he's like, man, I can't let her go. I mean, and to me, that drives that story in a way that I would argue for it. Yeah,
I agree with you. Like,
because that's when y'all were talking about Dumb and Dumber, that's when I was in the chat, like, man, that scene hurts a lot more as in your 30s.
Oh yeah,
where it's like. There is nothing like that in Ace Ventura. There's nothing like that in The Mask.
Right. But that cleverness of that is twofold. One, it draws you in, like you watch that as in your 30s and you're like, oh, Jesus, yeah, I am sick and tired of being nobody. And I'm sick and tired of having nobody. Like that hurts. But the genius of that there too is that it has that ulterior motive. Like he is just messing with Harry to go to this place. Like, and yeah, there's probably some truth to it, but like,
just take me in the dog van, man. Just take me in the dog van. Let's go to Aspen.
So I think that Dumb and Dumber is hands down the better.
Tell me you don't want to go somewhere where the beer flows like wine.
The salmon, the girls flock like the salmon of Capistrano.
Yeah,
I know.
Jim Carrey. Shout out Jim Carrey.
Give him his flowers.
Amazing. Yeah,
amazing. Yep, absolutely. I'm glad that we ended, or I kind of wish we would have ended with Dumb and Dumber, and that's probably my fault because Dumb and Dumber is so.
Man, Ace needs it. Like, I know that number 2 didn't come out in '94, but like when you kind of piece them together, like Jim Carrey becomes somebody completely different, but the same style of humor and just nails it.
Yeah,
just nails it in a way that I can't imagine anybody else really doing. Just being a pet detective. Right. And they really botch things up with like trying to create a kid version. I think I remember watching the cartoon and it being okay. I think it ran for a couple of seasons, but man, it just shows how necessary Jim Carrey is to it working. And if he's not there, it just falls apart. Just like the Mask cartoon and the Dumb and Dumber cartoon and the prequel to Dumb and Dumber, and maybe the sequel to Dumb and Dumber. But
that's right.
They tried.
Okay, so that was the big question, and I think we handled it pretty well. Good question. Thank you for coming up with it. Rewatchability rating of this movie, if you had to give it a rating between 1 and 5.
I could watch this one at probably. I've been struggling with this answer as I've thought about it this week. At a 3. If you haven't seen it and you want to watch it, I'm okay with watching it. But it's more of like a 2 if you've seen it.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, you want to watch this again? It's like, if you've seen it recently, not
I'd
really.
rather watch When Nature Calls.
Yeah, but if Natalia hadn't seen it before, I'd be like, yeah, let's put it on. It's good. I want you to see how this started, because then we need to watch number 2.
Mm-hmm. Overall star rating for the movie?
Overall star rating for me is a 2.5.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It's low just because I thought about it in terms of my personal, like when it comes to Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, Ace Ventura 1 and 2, where were my stars there across the board? And that helped me with, I was like, I think Dumb and Dumber's a 4 star rating across the board for me. Like as a comedy, it's a 5, but Eternal Sunshine's better, so you gotta leave room for something better. So it goes like when it comes to Jim Carrey, it's like 5-star Eternal Sunshine, 4-star Dumb and Dumber, 3-star Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, 2.5 Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and then The Mask. I'd say as an adult was I was with you, man. I know I wasn't on that one, but like it's more of like a 2.5 for me. Whereas I couldn't stop renting it as a kiddo. I love the cartoon, like the Wile E. Coyote, Bugs Bunny-esque like style of him being the Mask and dodging the bullets. So, yeah. What about you?
I gave it a 3. I gave it a 3. It's I don't remember what I gave The Mask. I think I gave The Mask.
What would you give the second one?
Probably similar, 3.5 maybe.
3 and a 3. Okay.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Okay.
If I could give it like a 3.1, if that was possible.
Okay.
Slightly better than that. I'd have to rewatch it though, just to see.
I think I could agree with that. That like number 1 and 2 could be a 3. I feel like I dropped number 1 down just a hair to a 2.5, just because. Yeah, fuck transphobia. That's just lame.
Yeah, I get it. All right, I'm skipping over that. Let's just go to Like a Fine Wine and Dish. If you could pair this movie with another movie for a double feature, what would you choose?
Number 2.
Number 2. Sure. I love
it. For sure. Or I would. Man, I really because of this watch through the Jim Carreys, I just jumped to Liar Liar as well.
Ooh,
and so I threw Liar Liar down because. God, if you want to see him just on fire, just on fire, and you don't want to just go to the sequel to this movie, jump to Liar Liar because he is hilarious.
Yeah,
in that movie.
Bruce Almighty in the same vein there too.
Yeah, exactly. Great choice for watch all 3 of them in a row. Watch Ace Ventura 2. Liar Liar, and Bruce Almighty. And if you're disappointed, I'd be surprised.
Yeah. You're going to laugh.
You're going to laugh. Your face may hurt, and that would be your disappointment. It's like, I got to stop laughing. Cheeks.
Other than other Jim Carrey movies, I had a really hard time with this one. What would I pair this movie with? And I went with Scooby-Doo. The Scooby-Doo movie, just because it's got the big reveal at the end of unmasking the real villain, who the real villain is, and it's fun, it's zany, it's stupid, same. So love the Scooby-Doo movie. Yes,
that's kind of mystery, solve the mystery. I like it.
Yeah. Somebody else said The Jerk. That may pair better with Dumb and Dumber, though. Yeah, probably The Jerk goes with Dumb and Dumber. Ooh, spoiler recommendation is Sleepaway Camp. Oh my gosh, that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Sleepaway Camp is. If anybody hasn't seen that, just read up on it. I wouldn't recommend watching it unless you like really bad horror movies.
Yeah.
Just read the ending of Sleepaway Camp and you'll get that one. So that'll be
maybe
good.
just watch Ace Ventura: Pet Detective and some Planet Earth. I don't know. Just,
just to get that animal vibe.
Yeah, just get the animal vibes going.
Well, Steven, thank you so much for joining me this week. Have you watched anything, or is there anything that you'd recommend? Maybe something you've listened to? I know you're more of a music guy, but given the opportunities.
I did spend most of the day yesterday watching a documentary on HBO Max called McMillions about the McDonald's monopoly fraud. I would recommend it 10 out of 10. Yeah, just really compelling. Like, I had no idea, and like a little bit of a spoiler alert, the reason most people don't know about this fraud that occurred is because when it was hitting the news, 9/11 happened.
Oh.
And so it kind of went away in the news because of 9/11. And I mean, that's just it's kind of a late spoiler on why just like you wouldn't hear about something so big like this happening. As well, in the same vein, on HBO Max, I watched Chowchilla, which is about like, I think it's 26 kids on a school bus being kidnapped.
Okay.
And
what is it called?
Chowchilla.
Chowchilla. Okay.
It's a pretty, that one's a short watch. Not like McMillions. McMillions was like 6 episodes, hour a piece. I fully committed, and it was wonderful. But Chowchilla as well was a short, I want to say hour and a half documentary about a school bus of children being abducted. And it's another one of those things that's like, why have I never heard about this happening? Because the way that, I won't say much, but the way that that it occurs is very, it's like, how did I not hear about this? I think it's Texas. Spencer may be able to correct me, but I think it's Chowchilla, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's Arizona. It's the desert for sure.
Okay.
But both of those documentaries on HBO Max have been very entertaining.
All right. Well, couple good recommendations there. Man, I've been watching a lot of movies lately, and some of them have been good and some of them have not. The one that I have recently I've been on a Tubi run, man. If you haven't gotten Tubi as a streaming service, it has commercials, but it's awesome.
Sponsor him, Tubi.
Tubi, sponsor me, please.
Sponsor
me,
you fucking cowards.
Yeah. I watched this movie called Lone Star, and it is kind of in that same vein of like a No Country for Old Men, kind of a modern Western. And it plays a lot with like telling a story in the past, and then having this all like trying to solve this crime by using
slow burn.
Yeah, real slow burn. Chris Cooper's in it. Matthew McConaughey's in it. I was really surprised by this movie and blown away. I really liked it. I also watched Killers of the Flower Moon recently, which is, if you can't be more slower burn.
3.5 hours. How long is that one?
Yeah, 3.5 hours. It's almost 4 hours. It's a oh gosh, it is. The length is the thing that I probably like the least about it. I love a good 90 minutes, and that movie is multiple 90 minutes. So I do think it's good, and I think Leo and Lily Gladstone put on a heck of a performance in that movie. So I think it's good. I read the book too, so I was a little partial to that. And yeah, last night I watched Self-Reliance on Hulu. It's a new movie by Jake Johnson. It does have that Black Mirror vibe that Alyssa's saying in the chat, where about a guy who can win $1 million in 30 days, but he has to survive being hunted, and he just thinks he has a loophole in this because the hunters that are coming after you can't kill you if you are with somebody else. So he tries to be around somebody the entire time.
Yeah, I'm in. Self-Reliance. Yeah,
and it's got Anna Kendrick, Jake Johnson in it. It's definitely quirky and funny and interesting, is what I'd say.
Man, if you want something to hurt, that I've forgotten one other thing that I've watched recently. If you want something that will make you love being alive, there's another like kind of documentary about this guy. It's called Daniel.
Okay.
Daniel. It's on HBO Max, and it's about this guy who he decided that his life was like worth filming and making a movie out of. So he's just kind of filming his life. And he basically, without saying too much, you can watch the trailer on HBO Max, and you find out very quickly that he is able to document his entire life. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant, like, because I think he visited every continent, been to like 30 or 40 countries, I think, or so. So there's some really cool shots, really cool. This guy just kind of traveling around the world, and then getting sick, and dealing with that. And so it hurts. It's one of those when, like, sometimes I send you songs between you and I, and I'm like, oh, careful with this one. It's good, but it's gonna hurt a little bit. That's the advice I would give to Daniel on HBO Max. It's good, but oof, there's gonna be some tears, most likely.
All right, I'll check that one out. Maybe when I'm in the mood for it.
Yeah. When I just want to make it hurt a little bit,
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Steven. We'll take all those recommendations, put them down, maybe watch a few movies this week. I do want to tell everybody that the next movie that we will be doing is called Sirens. Now that we're out of the Jim Carrey month, this one's kind of off topic. So it's more of an art movie, and so it is currently streaming on Tubi. And
I love when you get into movies that I've never seen before. Like that's one of the funnest things about the pod is that I've never heard of this movie, and like now I'm gonna totally watch it on Tubi because of you, and then I'm gonna watch it.
I've never seen it before either, so we're all in for a treat for this one.
Who's on next week?
Tori is going to be joining us again for this because, again, this one's about an artist. We're bringing Tori back. She's an art aficionado. So Tori's coming back. We'll be doing that stream next Monday as opposed to Sunday because I'm performing a wedding next Sunday. So
Tori's Big Eyes, right?
Yes, Tori is Big Eyes. She is Big Eyes. So we're bringing her back. And also we'll do 2 streams next week. Because we're going to be doing our special episode about kids sports movies. So make sure you're watching Mighty Ducks 2, Little Big League, Little Giants, Angels in the Outfield, Next Karate Kid or don't watch them at all. Just come in and talk to me and we'll have a good time with that. So, I think that's everything. And we'll see you next time on 52/1994. I think is what year we're doing. It is. All right. Y'all have a good one. We'll see ya next week.
Go now. We're right in the middle of Charlotte's Web.
Sorry, baby. I tried the best I could. Honest.
What's up, Butters?